Hi everyone, and welcome back to Fully Playable Games. So on today's video we are going to be doing something that I haven't actually done in quite a while, and we're actually going to be doing our first collection deep dive in a long time. So yeah, I'll be honest, it's been so long I can't even remember what consoles we've already done. I need to look that up. But what we're going to be doing in today's video, we are going to be doing my top console out of my whole collection. So this is a console that I grew up playing and still to this day absolutely love playing and collecting for, and that is the Mega Drive. So currently we have got 144 games on the Mega Drive. That's across both PAL, NTSC, both US and Japan. In today's video as well, we're also going to be looking at the other Mega Drive systems as well. So we're going to be looking at the Mega CD and the 32X. Now those other systems I haven't got as big of a collection. I've got 19 games on the Mega CD. Oh, excuse me. And I've only got 3 games on the 32X. So yeah, those two systems are ones that I do need to get a bit more for, or would like to get a bit more for, but yeah, at the moment they are just out of my ballpark at the moment. So what we're going to do first is we're going to jump over to the table and we're going to have a look at some of the hardware that we've got first, before we then dive into the games. So yeah, give me 2 seconds, we'll switch over and have a look what we've got. There were several different revisions for the Mega Drive, and while I haven't got them all in the collection, I do have basically the 2 main ones. And just here you'll see what I commonly refer to now as the Mega Drive 1. And yeah, these are the Mega Drive 1 and the Mega CD 1. These are basically the first bigger revisions of sort of the consoles. The good thing about this Mega Drive is this is actually my original Mega Drive that I got for Christmas on, was it 92, 93? I can't remember the exact year. But yeah, absolutely over the moon that I've still got this. Unfortunately, it isn't the original box, but yeah, still happy to have the original console. The next revision that was released was the Mega Drive 2. And while it's not a console that I use myself, this was one, when I think about the console variations, this was the one that I normally think of. The Mega Drive 2 got a lot of packing games, different packing games over its life, and it would always have a custom box art for each of those games. And yeah, it's a interesting console, but I much prefer the Mega Drive 1. That's the console that I grew up with, and that still to this day is the version that I play. Before we dive in and we start talking about the accessories that come with the Mega Drive, the other, and a lot of people call it an accessory, I call it a console because it does have its own line of games, and that is the 32X. This was an add-on that was released late in the life cycle to basically give the Mega Drive a bit more life while they were waiting for the Saturn to be released. It's a unique idea. I'll be honest, it's not something I really play too often, but yeah, really happy to have it in the collection. And there are some 32X games that I would like to get for the collection. Then we've also got the Master System converter as well. So this basically allowed people to play Master System games on the Mega Drive, and just give the Mega Drive a bit of a extended library in its early life. And then one accessory that I do have but don't have in the video here is my Game Genie. So yeah, this has been put into storage after doing the big games room sort out, and yeah, I just couldn't find it in time for the video. But yeah, this is obviously the cheating device that was brought out across multiple consoles, and yeah, it also forms part of the Tower of Power. Next up, we are going to be looking at the most recent official Mega Drive release. And this is actually the Mega Drive Mini. So yeah, this was a console that Sega released. I think so far, apart from the Game Gear, this is the only other mini console that Sega have released. And yeah, it's a nice little console. It's got a whole plethora of games on it. But I'll be honest, it's not one that I actually play too often because I tend to sort of just get the physical carts out. I probably should look into using this a bit more. It would probably be a lot easier for me to capture footage, and yeah, if the games are loaded on there, it's probably going to be a worthwhile option to start using. But yeah, for now, I do still use the main consoles. The last bit of hardware that I want to look at before we jump onto the games is my Ben Boyd Sonic the Hedgehog 2 Mega Drive console. Now, Ben Boyd is an amazing artist, and what he does is he actually creates custom boxes for different Sega consoles. So when he first started, he was doing the Mega Drive. Nowadays, he does a lot of Saturn stuff as well. But yeah, I managed to get hold of this, and apart from my original Mega Drive, this is one of my most prized items in my collection. I just think it looks absolutely stunning, and yeah, it's such a shame that Sega never actually released this as an official console. But yeah, it just looks amazing. It is literally just a sleeve around a normal console box, but this one is complete. It's got the console and everything inside. But yeah, absolutely stunning, and I really love this in the collection. So, as I said at the beginning of the video, we currently have 144 Mega Drive games in the collection. And as you'll see here, the vast majority of them are boxed, while not all complete in box. There's been a couple that I've been coming across recently that I haven't played in a while, that I didn't know didn't have manuals. But yeah, this is a console that I absolutely love collecting for, and whenever I can get a new edition for the Mega Drive collection, it's always a really good day. And what I will say is there are quite a few of my original games here as well. So, for example, my set of Sonic games that we'll get to in a little while, they were all bought originally back in the early 90s when they were all released. Then I actually did get a large bundle of Mega Drive games as well off my cousin as well, sort of in the late 90s. When he got rid of his Mega Drive, he then gave me all the games. And yeah, I just love the Mega Drive. Always have, always will. So when it comes to the Mega Drive, one of the big sort of genres that it normally covers is licensed games. So you'll see here I have got quite a good selection of licensed games for the Mega Drive. Currently got 27 titles in the collection. And yeah, there are games from every remit. We've got Disney, we've got Alien, Micro Machines, The Simpsons, and yeah, a whole raft of different games. I will say some of the licensed games that they released were absolutely superb. So the first one I want to highlight is Aladdin. So this was originally released on both the Mega Drive and the SNES, but I don't know whether it's personal bias or if it's general consensus. I would definitely say that the Mega Drive version is leaps and bounds above the SNES version. And then the other game that I want to highlight here as well is the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Now, this is a one-on-one fighter game where you play either the Power Rangers or you can jump into sort of the Megazord and fight the different enemies that come along. Yeah, I remember playing this back when it first came out, and yeah, it is so much fun to play. When it comes to one-on-one fighters, Power Rangers was not the only one that was released on the Mega Drive. Mega Drive did actually have a really good selection. And while I don't have a big collection for the fighting game series, I do have some of the big hitters. So we've got Street Fighter, Primal Rage, Mortal Kombat, and yeah, I have to say the version of Street Fighter 2 that is on the platform, while looks and plays really well, it's what lets it down is the fact that nowhere on the box does it say that it requires the 6-button controller, whereas if you actually want to kick, you need the 6-button controller. And yeah, I found that out while capturing gameplay for this video. It's a bit of a letdown there. But I will also say, compared to the SNES version, the Street Fighter 2 on the Mega Drive just tends to have the difficulty ramped up to 11. So yeah, it's a very, very good one to play if you like difficult fighting games. So we can't have a Mega Drive discussion without diving into the Sonic games. So the original birthplace of Sonic the Hedgehog, when the original Sonic the Hedgehog was released. And yeah, I have to admit, I've always been a massive fan of these games. And originally, when I was younger, I literally got all of these on day of release. So obviously, the original Sonic there was the original copy that was bundled in with my Mega Drive. And then subsequently, as soon as everyone's released, I've then picked them up. I have to say, I know a lot of people like Sonic the Hedgehog 2. For me, it is always the original Sonic. It's a game that I go back to quite frequently, really enjoy playing it. I'm quite happy to sort of sit there and go from start to finish. And yeah, it is an absolutely brilliant game. And what I will say, actually, before we move on from the Sonic games, one game that I think gets unfairly criticised is Sonic Spinball. So this is a pinball-based game. And yeah, I absolutely love this game. I think it's a brilliant game. But a lot of people just don't like it. And yeah, I just don't understand. Because you think sort of Sonic Ball, it does really work. So yeah, it's a game that I do enjoy playing. Absolutely love playing it again, capturing the footage for this video. But yeah, you'll see there we have actually got the full Sonic collection on the Mega Drive as well. So yeah, really happy to have all those. And yeah, they're games that I just always play. I just really love them even to this day. One genre of games on the Mega Drive that I never really had a lot of games for when I was younger was the racing genre. So you'll see here we've currently got 7 games that I would class as racing games. And the only one here that I've actually had access to since getting my Mega Drive was the original Super Monaco Grand Prix. So this is, in other places in the world, it's known as Ayrton Senna's Super Monaco GP. But the PAL release, it dropped the Ayrton Senna title for the first game, and then that got applied to the second game in the series. And then other than that, I obviously wanted Road Rage when I was younger. I was never able to pick it up. But yeah, this is something that I've added in later on down the line. And yeah, it's a series that is very hit. I will admit, the racing games on the Mega Drive can be very hit and miss. Sometimes they can be absolutely brilliant. Other times, one of the worst versions you can think of. One genre that is not underrepresented on the Mega Drive definitely has to be the sports titles. So you'll see here, I have currently got 29 sports titles in the collection. And I will admit, they're not games that I play too often. I'll be honest, they're not games that I play at all. I think the only time I really play them is if I'm capturing footage for the channel. But one game that I did actually play quite a bit when I originally got my Mega Drive was World Cup Italia 90. That is because it actually come bundled on one of the compilation carts that I had that we'll go into later on in the video. And yeah, other than that, I have never been a massive sports game player. But yeah, it's nice to have them in the collection. But yeah, these are not something that I actually play too often. So next up is a genre that I think is criminally underrepresented in my collection, and that is the shooter genre. So you'll see here I've currently got 4 titles, and I think even that is probably a stretch, because I wouldn't class Alien Storm as a shooter, but yeah, when you look it up online, it does say that it is a shooter. So yeah, that's why I put it in with this bit. Other than that, the only game that I've had for a prolonged period of time was Thunder Force 2. And this was actually a game that I got given to me by my cousin. All the others, apart from Alien Storm, so Super Thunderblade there and Space Harrier 2, are additions that I've added to the Mega Drive collection in the last few years. But yeah, I have to say, Space Harrier 2, absolutely amazing game. Loved playing it on the Mega Drive. And yeah, really glad to have it in the collection. This is probably, out of all of the car-only games that I've got, this is one of the ones that I really want to get a complete in-box version of. So another major genre that is heavily featured on the Mega Drive were the platformers. So as well as games like the Sonic games, and there's quite a few of the licensed games as well that will also fall into this category. I've currently got 18 non-licensed, non-Sonic platforming games. And yeah, I have to say they are some of my favourite games on the console. And 2 in particular really hold a special place for me. So the first one is Flashback. And this one, I remember when this first came out, and it was absolutely amazing. The graphics on it were just leaps and bounds above everything else that was about at the time. And more importantly than that is going to be Strider. So this is an arcade port, and this was actually, I think, the second ever game that I completed. And yeah, it's even to this day, I love playing through it. I will admit I haven't played through it in quite a while, and when I was capturing the footage for this video, it definitely showed how rusty I actually was on the game. But yeah, really happy to have these in the collection. And yeah, I will say, out of all of the Mega Drive games that I play, it is normally the platformers that I'm playing the console for. So one of the subsets that I am currently collecting for quite heavily is the EA Yellow Spine subset. So you'll see here I've got a selection. I think we've currently got 18 Yellow Spine games in the collection. And what a lot of people always get confused about with the EA games from this era is the fact that the carts are completely different from all the other games released on the Mega Drive. And the reason for that was EA essentially went around Sega's licensing. So they backwards engineered their games to work on the Mega Drive. And yeah, it was a fair few years before EA and Sega actually come to an agreement. And yeah, that is why the EA carts for the Mega Drive were always different. But one series of games that I absolutely love on the Mega Drive, and especially in the EA Yellow Spine series, is the Strike series. So the first one that I ever played was Desert Strike. It is a superb combat helicopter sim. And yeah, really enjoyed playing this. Spent absolutely hours playing it. This was one of my cousin's games, so I used to spend hours playing it on his Mega Drive when I was staying over. And then that quickly got followed on by Jungle Strike, which is another one of my cousin's games. And yeah, it is superb. I know the first level, you're basically flying around Washington, DC, destroying sort of terrorist vehicles. There was a third game, Urban Strike, which I'll be honest, I haven't played yet. But yeah, it's definitely one that I want to give a go to as soon as I can. So a genre that I haven't really paid a lot of attention to until sort of recent years is the import games. So you'll see here we've got a variety of import games. I've currently got 13 across the whole collection. We've got 10 Genesis games, so this is the US version of the Mega Drive, and 3 Japanese games. Now, I will say I have had exposure to import games when I was younger. And probably one of my most memorable import games that I've ever played and was really happy to have it in the collection finally, is Techno Cop. So this is a very violent and gory driving slash what I don't even know what you would class it as. It's a shooter. Wouldn't say it's necessarily a beat 'em up because you don't actually fight people. You either shoot them with your gun or you capture them with a net. But yeah, this is an absolutely amazing game, and it was one that when I really started ramping up my collection, I wanted to get in, and yeah, really happy to have it in. And what I will say as well is I don't think any of the games that we've got here won't play in the PAL system. I think the only ones that I might have problems with will be the Japanese ones. But so far, all of the US games that I've found will work in the PAL Mega Drive. I've never had a problem playing any of them. So I have to be honest, a genre that I am not massively keen on playing on a Mega Drive is puzzles. So you see here, we've got 3 puzzle games in the collection. And out of these 3, I'd only say there's one that I actively sought out to add to the collection, and that was the original Lemmings. This was a game that I grew up playing on PC. Absolutely love it, and I think even now in the collection we have got multiple different versions across different consoles. But yeah, have to admit these are brilliant games. Love playing them. But yeah, out in general, I don't really go to the Mega Drive for puzzle games. So a genre that I have always found quite interesting on the Mega Drive has to be the simulation games. So you see here we've got 6 different ones, and some of these are very, very different games. So see, we've got Theme Park there, which I absolutely love, got multiple copies across different platforms. But the 2 games that I actually want to highlight, and the first one is 688 Attack Sub. And this to me, even playing it back in the day, was just a bizarre game. So you essentially it's a simulation game where you basically control a sort of nuclear submarine. You've got the option to go into battle, and yeah, it's a really bizarre one. And it's not one that I play too often. I probably haven't played it in absolutely ages, but yeah, I used to put it in sporadically when I was younger. And yeah, just didn't understand what I was doing. So I probably need to give it a go now and yeah, try and work it out. And then the absolute GOAT when it comes to sort of simulation games, and I don't know whether you'd class this as a simulation game or a shooter, but the absolute GOAT is Afterburner 2. An amazing game, ported from the arcade onto the Mega Drive, and yeah, this, even to this day, is an absolutely amazing combat simulator. Next up, we have got the beat-em-ups that I've got in the collection, and as you can see, it is not a big part of the collection at all. And yeah, it is one that I am a bit gutted that I haven't got more of. There are some titles that I do really want to add to the collection, Streets of Rage being a big one. But once again, I have got access to some of the Streets of Rage on some of the compilations that I've got. But yeah, would definitely like to get some of the Streets of Rage added to the Mega Drive. And yeah, out of the games that we have got, the series that I've got, no, never really actually played too much of. But when I think of beat 'em ups, it's always one of the ones that I thought of was Golden Axe. So you see here we've got a car only version of Golden Axe 2, and yeah, the Golden Axe 1 and 2 were 2 games that I did want to get for the collection. So when I was able to get the second one, I was really happy. I don't currently have the first Golden Axe in the collection as a standalone game. Once again, this is going to be another compilation game that and that's the only way I play it at the moment. And even then, they were recent additions to the collection. This next bundle of games, I have to be honest, I have no clue how to define them. So obviously, Echo the Dolphin, you essentially play as a dolphin trying to save the world. Mega Bomberman is just absolutely amazing. I remember this was one of my early games on the Mega Drive, and yeah, it is superb. I remember playing through it, both single player as well with friends. And then a recent addition that really surprised me was Corporation. So this is essentially a first-person shooter on the Mega Drive, which, yeah, up until picking this up, didn't even know it had first-person shooters on it. But since then, I have found out about a couple of other titles that I probably will collect at some point. So one thing that the Mega Drive did that I don't think the SNES did at the time were the compilation carts. So these were carts that were officially released by Sega. And you'll see there we've got the whole set of Mega Games series. So Mega Games 1 was actually a game that I got with my console on the Christmas morning. And yeah, remember playing Super Hang-On, Columns, and World Cup Italian 90. Then subsequently, we had Mega Games 2 and 3 released. And then finally finished off with Mega Games 6. I don't know why Sega didn't ever release a Mega Games 4 or 5. But yeah, they just went straight from 3 to 6. And yeah, there are... I believe there are still more compilation carts than what we've got here. We've also got the Classic Collection there, which was a really good selection of games. And then the Sonic compilation as well, which comes with Sonic 1, 2, and Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. So the Mega Drive did also release its own version of the SNES scope, and Sega called this the Menacer. And yeah, I have to say, this is a peripheral that I've had since I was younger. You'll see here, I've only got 3 games that I would class as light gun games. And I'm pretty sure in the middle there, we've got Lethal Enforcer. I don't think that works with the Menacer. I think you do still need the Konami Justifier to play that. But yeah, you've got the Menacer 6-in-1 cart there, which has basically 6 different games that you can play. And then the port of the Terminator 2 arcade game, which was a sort of arcade shooter, and using the Menacer just gave you a bit more freedom on how you play it. So diving into some of the Mega Drive add-ons, the first one that we've got is the 32X. So as I said earlier on in the video, this is not a system that I've got a load of games for. These 3 games I actually got when I picked up my 32X, and since then haven't actually added anything new. I will say I think the 32X suffers from a variety of, sort of quality issues. So for example, looking at Doom, it's basically got a scaled down view window. So majority of the screen is actually just blocked off. Virtual Racing Deluxe is absolutely superb. Really enjoy playing it on the 32X. And yeah, probably I'd say out of all of them, that is my favourite. And then we've got Star Wars Arcade, which is a port of the original arcade game. And yeah, while it's a good game, it is also plagued with one of the things that I tend to find with a lot of Star Wars games, especially the earlier games, is that the difficulty is just massive on it. But yeah, as I say, it's a system that I don't have too many games for. There are some games that I do want to add to it, but yeah, some of the 32X games can run very, very pricey. So before we wrap up, I just want to quickly have a look through some of the Mega CD bits that we've got. Currently, I have got 19 titles for the Mega CD. I think there are 3 of those titles are Japanese games, and you'll see there one of them is also a it's not in the proper case, but we'll get to that in a second. In addition to that, I do also have a Mega CD wallet full of demo discs. So I got quite lucky in a pickup that I made, I think it was last year. And yeah, just got a whole load, literally got given a whole load of Mega CD demos. So yeah, really happy to have some of those. But for me, the 2 top titles in my Mega CD collection is the, and I always mispronounce this, is it Kyo Flying Squadron? So this is actually the demo disc, and this one is unique in the way that the developers actually made a bit of a mistake with it, because the whole game is actually on the demo disc. And what happens is when you get to the end of the first level, there's basically a splash screen to stop your progress, basically. But a mistake that the developers made was they actually left the level selecting. So what you can essentially do is play through the first level, get to the end, and then jump back to the main menu and kick into the level select, jump into level 2, and then go through and play the whole game. So yeah, the demo disc is quite sought after. Nowhere near as much as the main game. So I think the main game will run you sort of £350, £400, whereas you can get the demo disc for about 60. So it's definitely a more cost-effective option to get the game. And then my top game on the Mega CD, and probably in the collection as well, definitely top 3 in the collection, is Snatcher. So this was a game that I knew of Snatcher, never ever envisioned having it in the collection, just because of how expensive it is. But yeah, once again, I think this was a pick-up from last year, and one of the resellers that I know got a bundle of Mega CD stuff. He gave me first look at it, and one of the games that he had there was Snatcher, and it was the first time that I'd ever seen it sort of in real life. I'd only ever seen it on videos before this, and he gave me such a great price on it that I had to add it in. And yeah, really, really glad that I've got it in the collection. Very, very sort of Blade Runner-esque, but yeah, really good game, and really glad to have it in the collection as well. So that is going to wrap up our deep dive into my Mega Drive collection. As I said at the beginning of the video, the Mega Drive is just a console that I absolutely love. Even things like the Mega CD. So I remember when I was younger seeing the Mega CD in a Comet in Croydon, I think it was. And yeah, just always wanted one, but my parents would never buy it for me. They were very much of the mindset that I had the Mega Drive, I then never needed another console for the rest of my life. I think the next console that I got after that Mega Drive was my PS1, like the little mini sort of PlayStation that they brought out. And yeah, it is a system that I still to this day absolutely love. So yeah, as I say, let me know in the comments down below, what do you think of my sort of Mega Drive collection? I know that there's loads of titles that I'm missing, but let me know in the comments down below some top titles that you think I should be aiming to get sooner rather than later. But yeah, with that said, that is going to wrap up the video. But before you head off, if you did enjoy the video, don't forget to hit that like button. And if you're not already, smash that subscribe button and ring the bell to be kept up to date when I upload new videos. And yeah, with that said, thank you so much for watching today. Really hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next one. All right, bye.